Hi everyone, I'm Carol Keller from Illinois in the US. I'm really happy to be with you today. I am going to be using the Painted Christmas Suite, and I'm actually going to be making a card that you can use as a gift card holder, because who doesn't need those around the holidays? So that's my project for today. Okay, I am going to turn my camera around so that we can get started. So here is my card for today, and I've done some stamping and added some paper to the envelope, but it is a Christmas card that is a gift card holder. As you can see, you can pop a gift card right in there, and it's pretty simple to make. So that was why I chose it for today. I've used the design before. All right, let's get rolling here. I am using half of an A2 card base that's cut the long way. So same thing for A4, you just cut it the long way. And then we're going to score it. So I didn't do that yet because I wanted to show you. So if you have an A2 card like this, you are going to score at 2.5 inches and at 5.5 inches. And if you're working in centimeters, you are going to score at 8.5 centimeters and 14.9 centimeters. And that is, so you'll have your gift card in here, and then here's your front. And then of course we need our designer series paper, and I have pre-cut that, but I will tell you the measurements before we put them on. The first one is for the front, and it's 2 3/4 inches by 4, or 8 centimeters by 10 centimeters. For the inside piece that goes here, it's 2 1/4 by 4, or 5.9 by 10 centimeters. And this strip is going to go over here. And this is 1 1/4 inches by 4, or 3 centimeters by 10 centimeters. So we are going to grab our Stampin' Seal and put those on the card. And you need to put your DSP on before you cut out your notch for the gift card so that people can reach it. And I had a little bit of a dilemma for what to do to cut out the notch, because we used to sell a circle punch that fit for that, and we don't anymore. And I didn't check, but there's probably maybe the smallest circle punch or the circle die in the layering circles dies would work. But I actually used a different punch, and I'm going to show you that. Used a little Yankee ingenuity. So you can see how quickly, though, the card comes together. All right, so now here's what I decided to use. Oh, the first thing we need to do is we're going to mark the center. And for me, I'm just going by the designer series paper since it's 4 inches, and then I can just mark it at 2 inches. If you're doing the whole thing, you mark it at 2 1/8. And I'm going to put a little X there right at the center, because that's going to get punched out anyway, and then it just helps me to center the punch in the right spot. So I decided, because we didn't have a circle punch, to use the smaller punch from the Heart Punch Pack, because that little semicircle is going to work perfectly. So here's how I did it. We're just going to put it in, and we're going to look for that mark that I made for the center, and just center it to make that little half circle and punch it out. So now we have a little notch to pull out the gift card. So next, I need my tear and tape, or you could use your multi-purpose liquid glue for this part, because we want a nice strong adhesive so that when someone pulls out the gift card, our card doesn't open. So I'm just doing it at each end, because again, we need room for the gift card. So if we just do that and give it a good burnish, and then I usually use my take your pick tool to pull it off, because that's the easiest way I find. Another tip for you, so many uses for the take your pick tool. All right, and then we're going to burnish it and make sure that it holds really tight. All right, next we're going to do some stamping. So I have a scrap, and this is, oh, that's right, and I forgot to say, this is Soft Succulent, and the paper, of course, is from that Painted Christmas Suite, and it is called Painted Christmas. So, all right, now I'm using stamps from both sets that come in the suite, the Christmas season stamp set and the Christmas to Remember stamp set. One has just sentiments, and that's what we're going to use for this one. So, and I'm doing it this way. I'm going to cut it this way. So this is Pear Pizzazz, and I'm using Evening Evergreen to stamp. So I'm just going to stamp it, and then we're going to cut it out with one of the labels from the, what's it called? Seasonal Labels dies. So many different ones, and I like the fact that there were some larger ones that we could use. So I'm going to cut this out with the one that's obviously this size, and then a bigger one in the Evening Evergreen so that they can be layered. And then while I have this out, I stamped on the inside Merry Christmas. So we're going to do that. And then I used one of the stamps that's a little, looks like a pine tree branch underneath. And so that's our inside. And we are going to, while I have this ink out, I'm going to let that dry because the dark ones sometimes take a little longer to dry when they're that thick. We are going to use this. Sorry, just looking for my scrap of white. Here it is. So for the front, I also stamped one of those branches in the Evening Evergreen. And that's it for the Evening Evergreen. And now I'm going to bring in Pear Pizzazz. So for Pear Pizzazz, I used this stamp from the set, the Christmas season set. And we're going to do 2 of those. And then a little bit more stamping. Soft Succulent this time. I'm really loving this color, and I am not a green girl. I am a purple girl, but I love this green. So now for this one, I'm actually going to bring in a scrap because we're going to stamp off. Because I found that in the paper, the Soft Succulent, that's what it looked like. It was stamped off. So I've got a little scrap stamp on my grid paper. And then on my project, we'll do another one here. And then the same thing for the card. So I'm going to pull this out of the way. And we're going to do one, not the card, excuse me, the envelope. So let me grab that. Stamp off one more time. And we'll put one right there because, you know, we can't have those naked envelopes. I'm sure you've already heard about that today because we don't like those. So I believe that is all of our stamping. And we will put everything together because, of course, by the magic of Facebook, I have cut everything out already. So like I said, I have the one of the large dies in Evening Evergreen, and we're going to layer it with the one that's in Pear Pizzazz. And then I have all of my stamped images cut out. Actually, I have an extra one of those. So I'm just going to use my Stampin' Seal to layer. And you just want to make sure that you don't have any on the very edges. And then for this, we have to be careful. We only want, oh no, I goofed that up. I should have stamped second because you can see my Merry Christmas. I think we're going to fix that though. I think we may be using this branch after all. We're going to hide a little mistake. So what you want to do is center it, and you only want adhesive on this side. So that's what I'm going to do. See, when I did this originally, I stamped the inside last. Note to self. But I still want this centered. And then what I did for these was use my glue dots and just layered. So, and at first I was just using the, putting a glue dot at the bottom, but for some of these they're a little bit delicate, so I ended up putting two, one at each end, because I wanted to have them be a little bit dimensional, a little bit free-flowing, but I felt like it didn't work. So I'm just gonna tuck this underneath because we don't want it to extend past the card. And I think, let me see, we got to figure out how to do this one up here. Or maybe we'll do, well, I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to hide that, stick that up there to hide that little mistake. So I'm thinking that'll work. There's usually a way to hide it. Look at that. Nobody will know that that was a mistake unless we tell them. Don't tell. All right, so I am, like I said, putting a few glue dots. I had the leaves flowing, but they were a little bit delicate. So I think rather than having them be movable, we're gonna put down some glue dots. And again, you just wanna make sure that you don't go beyond the card, because otherwise it might not fit in the envelope. Okay, so now there is our card, except for, oh, I am out of glue dots, I think. Good thing I finished. Last but not least on the card is some bling. So I'm bringing in the In Color Jewels, the 2021, 2023 In Color Jewels. And I take your pick tool again, putty end this time. And I just I used the Evening Evergreen and the Soft Succulent. And I used the smaller soft succulent ones here, but I'm going to use the larger ones because they're not too big. Add a little bit of bling. I debated adding more kind of around the card or on the leaves, but then I decided not to, so you could always add more. But that is the card. And then just last but not least, to finish the envelope, is I have a scrap of paper to put on the back. So now I am going to grab my multi-purpose liquid glue. All right, and we're just going to line that up with the top and the right side. And then just give it a second to catch and adhere, and then trim it down, and our card and envelope will be finished. Isn't that pretty? That's become my favorite thing, is to put some designer series paper on the back of the envelope. I just think it looks so elegant, and you know, of course it coordinates, but it just looks so elegant. I like that. So that's it. That is our project for today. I hope you like it. I hope that you have a use for it, and that you appreciate that it's quick and easy. That's what I liked, is that it's very quick and easy to do. And so if you have gift cards that you're giving, it's a little nicer way to present them, I think. So I hope you like it. Thanks again for joining me today, and we will see you again soon. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.